Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Kitchen Kid. Today, what we got for you, remember that salmon we made last week? I will show you the best side to make that will work with that salmon any day. Something that's pretty easy to make, minimal ingredients that are easy to find, and will please the whole crowd that's here that evening. We're gonna start out with some mixture of fingerling potatoes, some baby reds, and we're gonna slice them in half and we're gonna season them up before we throw them in our oven. Take them and slice them the long way. Make sure you have a nice combination of the two. After you got your potatoes nice and sliced and washed, you want to put them into a sizable mixing bowl. Then you want to season them heavily season them. Some pepper, some salt, some paprika, nice couple pinches, maybe even 3. Some chili powder, not too much or else you won't be able to eat it. And about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Give it a nice good mix. You want to make sure that every potato is coated in the oil and the seasoning. Once you have your potatoes nicely evenly coated and seasoned, it's time to transfer them to a baking pan. You want to make sure that you oil your foil. Transfer the potatoes nicely into the baking pan, and you want to make sure they're not going to be too crowded, so you want to spread them apart. Once you have your potatoes in your baking pan, you want to stick them in the oven at about 400 to 375 for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the size of your potatoes. Yeah, it's a little bit longer, but with time comes greatness. Once the potatoes are in the oven, it's time to prepare our garnishes. We're gonna start out with crisping up some bacon bits. All you need for that is some bacon. I don't know about you guys, but I like me some bacon. Quite a bit of those bits on those potatoes. It's so good. Once you feel like you have enough bacon bits, it's time to get them crispy. High heat, you want to get the pan hot. And then you add your bacon. And just break them apart, spread them throughout the pan, and let it start cooking. So while the bacon is sizzling, we're gonna start and go ahead chopping up our garnish for our potatoes. Like to start out with a little bit of green onion. Start chopping that up. About 1/4 inch rings. Guys always wanna make sure that you wash your vegetables that come from the store. And I like to stop right before I get to the light part of the green onion. Once you're done chopping your green onion, go ahead and not forget about your bacon. Nice stir, break it apart a little bit more. And let it go through the process of getting crispy. After you stirred your bacon, you want to go ahead and start chopping up your dill. And for potatoes, I love dill, so we're gonna use a lot of it in this one. You wanna take off the really thick stems. After you destem your dill, make sure you check on your bacon so it doesn't burn. And give it a nice stir. You can see the fat rendering and melting, and we're gonna let it cook in its own fat to get that crispy effect. Once we mixed our bacon, we're gonna go ahead and start chopping our dill. transfer it to your garnish bowl. Then we have some chopped garlic that we already pre-chopped. And then we're gonna add a little bit of thyme and finely chop up thyme. Stems and all. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be beautiful. Chop it up as if you're gonna grind it almost. Once we are done with that, we go and check on our bacon again. Look at that. The edges are getting crispy. We're gonna let it simmer in its own fat and start crispying up. While our bacon is still cooking, we're gonna go ahead and take a glance at our potatoes, see where they're at. Look at that, that oil is starting to simmer around it. Beautiful. So in about 30 seconds, our bacon is gonna be done. It's getting nice and brown, and the key trick is to pull it out right before it starts burning and straining the fat out of the bacon. You wanna make sure that you're not straining it straight into the sink. Your plumber might hate you after that. Look at that, crispy bacon bits. Beautiful. It doesn't get any better than this, guys. This is what it's supposed to look like. In Ukrainian, we call these shkwarki. You guys could eat this alone and have a great day. Probably get high cholesterol too. Once your bacon is done straining all the grease out of it, we take it and we put it in a bowl. Oh, look at that. You could hear the crisps just dropping alone. So our potatoes have about 10 minutes left. We want to add a little bit of aroma, some good smells to it. What we're going to do is we're going to add a couple sticks of rosemary and some thyme right on top of them so it brings up that smell. Pull them out. Guys, look how beautiful they are. Crispy. Hear that? Almost done. We're just going to add some thyme and some rosemary, and it will penetrate the potatoes. The smells will just be amazing in about 5 minutes here, and in about 5 minutes more we'll be taking them out. All right guys, so it's been about 45 minutes. We had a little bit of bigger potatoes here, so it took a little bit more time, but we are ready to pull them out and plate it up. Let's go take a look and see what it looks like. Oh my goodness, guys, the aroma of rosemary and potatoes is just overwhelming. These smell so darn good, so delicious. I can't even explain. I wish that the video would be able to produce smells right out of your computer speakers. You guys would just be in love with these. Look how nice they look. Look how crispy they look. It doesn't get any better than this. Listen to this. But if you cut them open, they're just mush on the inside. Look at that. Look at that. Steaming. Beautiful. They smell beautiful. So before we plate them out, I like to season them again because a lot of the seasoning gets lost in the oils when you're flipping them, when you're cooking them. So we're just gonna take our potatoes and we're gonna put them in a nice bowl where we're gonna add a little bit seasoning and only some of our herbs. Guys, these smell so good. We're gonna start out with adding our thyme and sprinkling all over the potatoes. And give it a nice toss. Make sure they're coated pretty good. Then we're gonna add a little bit of garlic, so when it heats up, it starts bringing out the aroma, and a little bit more of our thyme. Give it another nice toss. Perfect. Then we're gonna add a little bit of dill, just like that. We're gonna give it another toss. Then we're gonna salt it up again. And a little bit more pepper. You wanna make sure these things are seasoned Very nice. And then, last but not least, we're gonna cut off a couple slices of butter and throw them into the hot potatoes so the butter melts down. You don't want them to be big chunks. You want them to be nice thin slices so they melt pretty quick. Maybe 4 or 5 slices like that. Let the butter melt, give it a nice toss. Guys, the smell of the garlic, the rosemary, the thyme, the dill, it's unbelievable. These are gonna be awesome. Once the butter has melted all over the potatoes, put them in your plate. Choose a nice plate to serve them in. I like to go with wood since these are roasted potatoes. They're a little bit more rusticy. I want it to have a nice presentation because it's only as good as it looks. You guys can also make these for breakfast, serve them with some nice eggs, or serve them with that salmon that we cooked last time. Then, the best part, garlic all over, more garlic, beautiful, like that. Then we get a little bit more dill all over. Get that nice greenery in. Brings out the colors. Sprinkle some on the plate up here. And then green onions. Beautiful. And with the potatoes being hot, it really starts bringing the aroma of this garnish out. Once you guys have all that, I like to add a lot of green, comes the bacon bits. You guys, listen to the crunch of these. Beautiful. And be generous with the bacon bits. Beautiful, look at that. Oh my goodness. Put a little bit on the side here. Get a nice helping of bacon bits. And once the bacon bits are on, I like to touch it up with a little bit of green onion at the top so we don't lose our greenery. And a nice sprinkle of chili powder to add a little bit of heat. Beautiful, guys. This is what the dish should look like when it's done. Nice, hot, smells great, presented beautifully, will get anybody's mouth watering. Beautiful dish, easy to make. It's not quick, but it's well worth the wait. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay tuned for more great videos like this. Please share, subscribe, and comment below to let you guys know with any suggestions you guys might want to see us make. And keep waiting for the next video. See you guys next time.